You're listening to Happy Hour Hustle from the creative geniuses here at 834. We're funny, informative, and we swear. We talk all things marketing, communication, small business, plus we offer up hot takes on our industry and whatever else we feel like talking about. So, grab your drink of choice. It's always 5 o'clock at 8:34. And crank it up. Hi Hustlers, welcome back. Today we want to dive into a topic that is on every single marketer's mind, AI mode. I know we've talked about it here and on our blog, exactly what it means for getting your information out there. Today we wanted to bring in someone with a bit of a different perspective whose job it is to literally get us timely, accurate information. Charlsie Dewey is the digital director for WOOD TV8. Charlsie, thank you so much for being here today. For those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about what it means to be digital director.
Yeah, so in my role, I manage the digital team. So at WOOD, that's a team of about 11 people plus me, so 12 of us. I have digital content producers, I have digital reporters, I have a digital anchor, and a digital lifestyle reporter. So it's a handful of jobs that I kind of manage. I do sort of the long-term, big picture strategy for the team. So we are owned by Nexstar Media, and so they have sort of priorities and best practices that they share with all of the digital directors and digital leads. And then it's our job to figure out how to implement that type of strategy within our stations, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. We don't have to do everything that they recommend, but there's a lot of good stuff. And so AI is definitely a part of that.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's being talked about at the Nexstar level and then at the station level, and different stations are dealing with it in different ways.
Yep. And so obviously AI generated summaries are a big thing. People aren't clicking into links the same way they used to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways that we as marketers talk about kind of combating that and getting to drive traffic in different ways. How do you guys handle that?
Yeah, so it's definitely a concern. I don't want to downplay like that, it's a big conversation. We at WOOD are really lucky that we have such loyalists. So we have a lot of direct web traffic, which is really great, and a lot of stations don't have that. Because we're a legacy station, we just have such a strong presence in the community. And so, when big things happen, people come to us, even, just to check their daily news, they come directly to our homepage. So we do have strong homepage traffic, which is great. But we also rely a lot on SEO and Google search to get traffic directed to us. I don't think we're seeing a big impact yet, but I know there are tons of publications out there that are experiencing that.
Right.
And it definitely will have an impact as those summaries. Like, I was just playing around yesterday. It's like, okay, what are our big news stories today? If I Google like GR shooting, what's going to come up?
Yeah.
And I was surprised when I did Google Grand Rapids shooting, because there was one yesterday in the news. And there was a summary for it. And I was like, how odd that would be summarized versus taking to an article. But then there were other things I looked up that didn't have Google summaries, and so or AI summaries. So I was like, okay, so, it's interesting what does and what doesn't, and how would that impact people coming to our site for more specifics about it.
Yeah.
And
I know we've talked about how to kind of change the way we approach SEO, but also not change the way we approach SEO. Like, you still want good original content, which fortunately news stations have like a great leg up on, because there's people constantly gathering that. But how have you kind of looked at changing that approach?
Right now we aren't changing really anything. The thing is they always say kind of don't rush to change your SEO strategy. Don't rush to change what you're doing, because it does change so much and it's very fickle. It seems like Google's always doing different things. So right now we're not doing a lot different. I mean, definitely still really paying attention to our SEO, like our keywords, and how would somebody be searching for this. And we're definitely paying more attention to just how do we get people to know WOOD TV. Like, we're definitely going to have to be getting our brand out there, because like young people don't know, because they're not raised in households with the news on all day, or all evening or whatever, so they don't necessarily know their local news channels. So we're going to have to figure out how to still get people to know us, so they do come to us for the big news stories of the day. But yeah, we're not we're still really sticking to the same kind of keyword SEO strategy. And, you know, whenever there are big news stories, I do like to Google to see where we come up in the top stories. Are we in there? Where are we in placement? Are we in a video carousel?
Yeah.
I'm always kind of looking at that.
Yeah. And I know the video strategy and also just social media strategy in general has changed significantly in the last decade.
Yeah.
How has that impacted the work that you're doing? I mean, like the digital first stuff, also the digital only reporters, that's something that's relatively like in past decade kind of a newer thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I came from print and digital print and we were way ahead of TV apparently because when I got to Wood, I realized digital first was still kind of a new thing. But now, I mean, everything goes online immediately, and I've even heard, you know, people say like instead of digital first, it's like social first. So you're not just, it's not about getting it on your website first, it's getting it on social first and being the first to social with this information. In the way like video, that is great because we are a TV station, so we have tons of video. We know what to do with video, and we know how to tell stories with video. So, but in like the evolution, we now have a digital video producer, which is a brand new role that we introduced in, I think I hired him in February or March. So that role did not exist 4 years ago when I got to Wood, and now we have a video producer, and I would not be surprised if we end up with more video producers in the future.
Just people to literally take video and make it into
digestible
clips for everyone.
For social, for our Wood TV Plus, for just all these different places.
And I'm sure coming from like the print digital world, it's always kind of this battle now with attention spans, right?
Yeah.
How do you get people the best information when they have like 60-second tops attention spans?
Yeah.
How have you guys like looked at that issue moving forward as you get a younger and younger audience, you know, as that generation grows up?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely we're putting video in every story. So like if you come to our website, you can read your news, you can watch a quick clip of, you know, kind of summarizing it. All of our videos have text with them. So like maybe you're at work and you don't want to turn the sound on, you can watch the video and read the summary of what's happening. And then of course our reporter packages get put into our stories too. So if you do want like the full reporter package, you can watch that. On social, we're, like I said, this video producer, he's creating all of this video content that goes on social to summarize those big stories. And then we're doing a lot of like graphic and photo posts too, because those are definitely what people are more interested in, and Facebook seems to be interested in. So just kind of making it digestible in whichever sort of form you want it. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And we have we have our newsletters, so people can get things delivered directly to them every morning. So trying to, again, I always tell my team, you're not just creating for the website, you're creating for all these other channels.
Yeah, social, newsletter, all of it, the app. I'm sure that's also changed things too. So
yeah, big time.
So let's talk a little bit about AI and newsrooms. This has always been, I've always found it kind of interesting. I think will be and always like has kind of been the last industry to embrace it fully because of the nature of it and the like ethical potential concerns of it, that sort of thing. What has been like your approach to embracing AI or addressing it in that setting?
I love new technology, and I am very much on the let's figure out how we can utilize this. Let's not stand back. Like, we always volunteer to be a pilot station. Whenever there's any new product that Nexstar wants to test out, we're raising our hand trying to be involved in that, because I'd rather be on the forefront than behind. And so with AI, it's funny, I was asking for over a year to be a pilot because I knew that they were testing it and we didn't get in that pilot program, and I was so disappointed. So I kept every couple months, I'd be like, well, what's happening with this? Is there any way we can get in on this? But they did finally kind of roll it out to all of the stations. So we do have an AI program that we're allowed to use. It was developed specifically for Nexstar. So when they talk about like generative AI, it's not that.
Right.
It's not going out into the wilderness of the internet and taking in information. This program was trained completely 100% on Nexstar
Got it.
media.
Like closed circuit type stuff.
Yeah, so the learning model only learned from our outputs. So our web scripts, our copy, and then AP style book, because obviously that's how we function. So when you, for example, one of the things we're utilizing it for is we do crosstalks in like our 4 p.m. news.
Yep.
Those are kind of time intensive to turn into web stories. So it would be great to take the TV script, so again, just what was said in the interview, and then you put it into the program, and then it spits out a web story of that. That's huge time saver for us. That's like a great use model. And we've had some limited success with it. We're still figuring out how to tell the AI to do what we want. So, we want it to use quotes. We want it to make sure it's flowing and telling a story. And it can be a little challenging to get it to spit out exactly what we want. But we have published a couple of things. They're all the bottom of any story where we have used AI. It does explain that we used AI to create that, and that it did come directly from source material created by us. Again, nothing outside of the station or outside of what that reporter did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I first started hearing about how newsrooms were utilizing it, I think that's a really good use case, is like those longer form things where you need to get it up and you want a script for it. Yeah. But you're like, it's 30 minutes. Or it's 20 minutes, or it's 15 minutes. You're like, ah. And I do think that's one of the things that when people hear about AI newsrooms, they're like, well, I don't want things to be made up. I don't want them pulling, or like, I mean, the big keyword, like plagiarizing, for like, like that sort of thing. And I think that's where people's heads go, is like, oh, well, then they're just like grabbing things from elsewhere. And but that use case, it's already original material. You're just using it to
develop another
type, create a different format.
Exactly. And we've tried it with like we have like Ken Kolker, who's a very well-known investigative journalist on our team. We've tried it with like Rick Albin and Jack Dole, some of our big well-known people, but they're very strong storytellers and they have a very strong voice. It doesn't work for them. Yeah. Because it takes their voice out of it. And like if you read a Jack Dole's story, like you can hear Jack when you're reading it. Yes. If you put that into an AI model, it strips that voice. So we would not use it for those people. We would not use it for those cases, because it just takes away the originality and the creativity and the voice of those people, which is who people want to hear from. Right. So we've definitely found cases where we're like, nope, that would not work for that. It just ruins the quality of the content. But for shorter pieces, like I said, like the crosstalks, those interviews on like a health topic or a neighborhood event or something, it definitely works well for those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And in terms of like guardrails, because obviously there's only so much you can control from within the newsroom. Yeah. What types of things are newsrooms doing to ensure, I mean, I imagine it's similar to like universities, what they're doing to ensure that things are not, I mean, what types of things have you guys discussed or talked about, or even like concerns that you're like, can we control that when it comes to AI?
Well, we have really strict rules for what, how we utilize the AI technology that we are allowed to. Like, there's a lot of stuff we're not allowed to use. We can't use ChatGPT. We can only use like I don't know what to call it, but Copilot has different levels. We can't use the higher level of Copilot. We can only use like the lower level of Copilot. So there's things that we're just not allowed to use as a company. Our company is Nexstar is very specific on approvals for all different types of software that we can use if it's got AI technology at all. But then within the newsroom, like when we let's say we do one of these crosstalks and we decide to use AI to create the web story from the script, it has to go through a strict process. So the digital content producer puts it in, gets the web story, it goes back to the reporter, and we have the reporter read through and make sure that this is still factual, this is still conveying what the interview was, and then it goes back to the digital content producer who then publishes it. And again, it has that note at the bottom letting people know how it was created. So, and like the reporters aren't allowed to do it. Only the digital content producers, we're the ones that decide whether or not it's something suitable for the AI technology. And then there's that 2 sets of eyes to make sure what it spits out is really the right thing.
Several steps in the process before it gets to anyone that like will see it outside of the newsroom.
Which, the idea is to make things more efficient and quicker. And we're like, is this really right now? It's not that much quicker or more efficient because we're still learning how to utilize it and the double checking. And eventually I think it will be more efficient for some of those stories. But right now it's not. It's actually more work.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny to think about that when you do have the double checking or things like that. I know that I've found myself, if I've ever been using like a generative something for a prompt, I'll spend 30 minutes trying to get it right. And then I should have just written it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we find. Sometimes we're like, well, this would have actually just been quicker.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to move on from there.
So that's why we haven't done a ton of stuff, but we do a lot of playing around with it and trying to figure out how to tell it to do what we want. And
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And plus it's your own thing, so that's different because you're only having issues within the company. You're like, well, who do I escalate it to? I guess I ask.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I do want to talk a little bit about the shift towards streaming as well, because that's another major thing happening for the digital side of news and everything, everywhere. Linear TV, I do still think it's somewhat relevant, but I mean, every station has an app now.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the conversations that have been happening surrounding like the launch of that app and why it's necessary?
Yeah, so our app launched in the end of February of this year, and it's been a whirlwind. I mean, we went from no streaming app to we have an app that now has to be programmed 24/7. It's a huge undertaking. We benefit because we are part of Nexstar, so we have all of these other stations that are doing the same thing as us, and we're all trying to create original content to program onto this app. So we were lucky because we already had a web show that we were doing, like a digital show we were doing, but it was like a 15-minute, the Daily 8, 15-minute web series that we were doing daily. That we were able to quickly lengthen into an hour when we launched the app. So we had an hour of original content right from the start. Then all of our broadcasts, we have a lot of news broadcasts, so those are all on there. We have 8 West, that's on there. But then we were like, okay, what else can we produce to make this app something different and interesting for people? So since February, we've launched 10 different things probably. Some of them are like monthly, some of them are daily, some of them are weekly. So we have a bunch of different shows. We just today are launching Cinema 8, which is like a movie review show that one of our producers has created, and he's co-hosting that with a couple of other producers. Jack Doles has done Sports Vault, that's not a specific, it's not like monthly, it's whenever he has time to do it, but digging into the history of his reporting, he's been here for forever. So his first episode had to do with Floyd Mayweather Jr., and he just pulled all the stuff from the archives and created this really cool special on his coverage of Floyd over the years that we plug in. We've got a literary show called Let's Get Literary that one of our digital content producers created. That's a monthly show. She talks to a local author, a local bookstore, and one of the libraries, and all based around literary things. We've got, gosh, what else have we created? It's like I said, a whirlwind. The Daily is still on there. We've got the Daybreak Plus, so our morning anchors, Teresa and George, and Matt Kirkwood, they sit down for a half hour from 8 to 8:30, and they kind of go through all the stuff happening and nationally and locally, and that's a really fun show that they do. We just launched The Late on Mondays and Tuesdays with Brian and Amber and Ellen, which is again like a kind of a news show, but a little bit less formal news shows, basically.
Almost like podcast style type stuff.
Yeah. So we're doing all these cool things, and we've got On the Town with Rachel and Tom, which is like a carryover from 8 West, where they talk about more personally things that they've been up to, Broadway Grand Rapids shows they were going to, things they've done over the weekend, and that's a half-hour weekly show that they do. So it's been great because it's not limited either to our talent. Like anybody within the building could create a show, and they get to create it, and I work with them, kind of help them plan it out, and then they launch it, and it's been really fun to see what people are coming up with.
That is really fun. I like the way that you've been able to develop unique content outside of like the linear model of TV.
Yeah.
What has it been like trying to shift that mindset, or if you've always not had the mindset of like the linear TV, to get people on board with shifting the mindset from a linear model of, we have our 5 reporters that are doing these 5 stories today, and they're going to be in these shows.
Yeah. I think again, it offers people from all throughout the building an opportunity to do this. So I think that's been really fun for a lot of people who are like, I have an idea for a show, and I can anchor it. I can be the voice of the show. So that's been fun for them. For the anchors, I think they're pretty eager to be part of this, because I think they see like that's what the future is. And so it's important for them to be on board, learn the technology. But it's a lot of extra work. So it's definitely balancing their commitments to TV with their new commitments to this. But mostly people are, I think, excited to figure out what their part can be in this, whether it's like a short 10-minute thing that goes into the Daily 8, or if it's going to be a full 30-minute show that they're going to produce, or if they're going to occasionally just turn some of their content into bigger specials. Everyone's just kind of figuring out, how can I be a part of this in a way that works for me?
That's awesome. How do you see the app influencing how coverage has happened in, like big weather events or elections or things like that, where there always has kind of been a mindset of, let's be on air, let's do this as long, but how will streaming, do you think, kind of impact that? Or the ability to?
We had a great opportunity in the end of April when they had the trial for Christopher Schur. That was a police shooting situation. That trial was hugely important to the community. Lots of people were interested in it. We obviously could not be wall-to-wall coverage of that on TV, but we were able to use WOOD TV Plus to cover that trial all day. So for, I think that was like a week and a half trial, from 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. at night. We were at the trial. We had anchors who were sitting at the WOOD TV Plus studio, watching everything and keeping everybody kind of updated on, this is what's happening. These are the witnesses we've seen today. This is the key information that's come out. This is the witnesses we expect to see tomorrow. So that gave us the opportunity to be wall to wall for a week and a half covering this trial, and we definitely saw the interest from the community, like people downloading the app to be able to watch. We saw spikes at different times when different people were testifying. So we know that the community was definitely interested in being able to watch this and having access to that, and we could not have done that otherwise. So it's just a whole other avenue of being able to bring things to the community that we wouldn't be able to do without this channel.
Literally have a camera sitting there the whole time. If you'd like to watch, we have
it, and we actually have like an anchor who's talking you through it,
doing analysis. No, that's great. And then how has the streaming model, or at least kind of moving towards that, changed how, like, being responsive to audience needs? Because it used to be like the ratings were what would drive coverage or drive these things or drive whatever. How has the streaming model kind of changed how you think about that and like just the social media in general?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're obviously we're a breaking news weather investigative station. That's what we're known for. That's what people turn to us for. With the streaming, though, we can be so much more. We can now, again, we're creating all of these unique programs that, we have a fantasy plus football show, which is a fantasy football, for that community. The Let's Get Literary show for literary stuff going on. I mean, we're giving people a lot more things that they can turn to us for, and I think that's important as media does shrink. We've seen a lot of publications disappear in our community, and so it gives us a chance to step up and expand the types of coverage and the types, like entertainment. I mean, we're literally creating more entertainment than news with some of these shows.
Right.
And I think that's really fun and a great opportunity. And then we can pull together content. So like Miranda does her segments every day on 8 West. She's the Where We Live segments. I can pull all 5 of those together at the end of the week and create like an hour-long or half-hour show of just Miranda content. And I think that's a nice way to deliver to people. Maybe on a Saturday morning, they just want to see what Miranda's been up to all week.
Right.
And, what can I be doing with my kids this weekend? So it's just a lot of opportunity to bring more to our community.
Awesome. Well, Charlsie, thank you so much for coming in. I think those are all the things I want to ask about right now. I'm sure there's more.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I could talk about this all day.
There's so much more. I was going to say it's a good, all of it is very timely, but I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Hustlers, see you in the download.